striking feature continues to be the best half-back line in the country. Team captain John Gardner, Ronan Curran and the legendary Sean O'Go-Halpine. Jerry O'Connor and Tom Kenny maintain their midfield partnership in a setup that loses class 1 to 9. It's the attack that brings us to unfamiliar territory. Championship debutants Kevin Canty and Paddy O'Sullivan means youth gets its fling while Cathal Naughton wears the first time, so there's no place for 3 times All-Star Joe Dean. Yet to be beaten this year, Tipperary, the National League champions, look focused and exceptionally well balanced. SHC, the player manager, championship start to new kids on the block, cornerback Conor O'Brien and centre forward Seamus Calnan. The full forward line has awesome potential with Kelly, Corbett and Ryan, a deadly inside 3. Put Woodlock and Brad centre field, Conor Manning centre back, Brendan Collins return as first choice goalkeeper. That sense of balance with Tipperary selection is justified. There the check of the details. Let's go back to Michael.
Thanks very much. Parade about to start here in Páirc. You know, look, I never thought I'd really be sitting in the subs bench, Cork team.
Yeah, okay, Michael, and I suppose he'd be disappointed, and his cup will be disappointed as well. But Joe Dean and Kieran Murphy and these guys are capable of coming on. And if Joe Dean comes on here today, he'll lift the crowd, and they can bet your bottom dollar if he gets onto a ball, he'll snipe 1 or 2 over, and they'll be all finishing on the next day. But it shows you, like, the modern day game, Michael, isn't about 15. If these 20 fellas that are capable of coming on, 70 minutes a game, Cork win for the long haul, and I would expect that Joe Dean, whether Cork will win or lose, will be coming on today.
And there's the aforementioned Joe Dean, bit of a smile on his face anyway, so obviously he's looking forward to the big occasion, Anthony. Cathal Naughton we've seen come on, Cork teams of course as they call them, the impact sub to great effect in the past. Also Kevin Canty, new man there at centre forward, so you know, big game for him today.
Huge game for him, Michael, and a big move from Gerard McCarthy and the selectors. Like Niall McCarthy has been one of the best centre forwards. Like to talk to Sean McMahon, you know, and ask him who one of the best in the last few years, he'll tell you Niall McCarthy one of the best. Not making his place. Like Joe Dean is in good company, Kieran Murphy's not there either. So it is a big day for Canty, Paddy O'Sullivan, Cathal Naughton, who we've seen making, as you said, great impact from the bench. Now he has to start. He's all the nerves of starting. You know, so there's great matchups there. The two tip cornerbacks are relatively newcomers as well, Eamon Buckley and Conor O'Brien. So there's great matchups there. There's great interest in one to look forward to. Will the Rock be able to hold out? He's always done it in Championship hurling. Will he be able to hold out against a flying Larry Corbett? It's this huge one that's going to swing the game.
That's a huge question, because if Larry Corbett gets on that ball, moving at pace, he'd be like Lewis Hamilton going past the Rock.
He will, but you forget about the Rock. The Rock is very physical, strong, and he's able to tackle legitimately, and I expect the Rock to put his body on the line. Now, he hasn't done it during the league because he's kind of floating through the league, but like when the chips are down, and I know that Donald Cuse loves in front of him, the Rock is able to command around the square, and the two boys, Shane Neal and Murphy, are very, very tight. You'll find that the Rock will have a good game today, because he's a very proud player, like, and you know, he rarely lets Cork down. It could be his last year, but he could go out and win a note.
Well, I suppose he's never let Cork down, in fairness, Anthony. Every player will have a good day, a bad day, all that kind of stuff, but what a passionate player.
When you go back over it, Michael, now, I've looked back over it during the week. He has never been taken to the cleaners in a championship game. There isn't too many fullbacks can say that over the last, you know, he's playing 13 years. He's never, no, the odd day maybe a goal and a point, the odd day, but never been taken to the cleaners. But just this year I thought there was an extra little bit of weight during the league. Corbett in such form. He'll be dependent, of course, an awful lot on the 3 boys outside him. Curran outside him, massive player. Like, I mean, Curran on a new player, Seamus Calnan. If Curran starts well, there won't be too much ball going in. Tip will start to get frustrated. You know, maybe they'll move one of the boys out centre, out in the wing. You know, that's what Cork wants. They want their half-back line to get under the puck outs, start winning the breaks, setting up O'Connor and Kenny. Midfield is fascinating as well, like Woodlock, a runner, an athlete. Yeah, absolutely.
The viewers at home, Cyril, can see the parade on their screen, because we can feel the tension and the atmosphere. You could slice it up and set it downtown later on.
Yeah, they can feel it all. Well, there's even around town there, but like that half forward enough tips. Seamus Cannon's new guy centre forward, and he's in on the road corner, big call. Now, if he's not doing well, he's doing very well today. If he's not doing well, you'll probably see Ryan O'Dwyer in there early on. It's not going to win. They will have to do more for Tip, because in the league finals of the Munster, Tip half forward line was not good for 50 minutes, didn't win any ball, 20 puck outs. If that happens against Cork, they're under pressure straight away. It's a big call on both sides. But this Cathal Naughton has great pace, and Pat Conan, even though he's not been used there last year, this is a big year for him. He's really got to make it left to the top. He can be very effective inside the forward line, and he's capable of being a loud comment, because if he gets a chance to score a goal, he'll go for it, and he'll stick it.
Now from far from the throw-in, Anthony, who do you fancy?
Very hard to call. I think Michael's quote about the 10 to 1 for a draw is interesting. I'd give a slight preference as well to Cork, based on it's here in Cork, the experience of the backs. The 1 to 9, they have that bit of experience there. They've been together. If they hold tough, I'd give them a slight edge.
Cyril?
Well, like, if Tipper are going to be real contenders for All Ireland, I feel they've got to win here. Now, it's a big call because, like, you'd have to say home venue for Cork is worth 3 or 4 points. And maybe Tip might just scrape, but if you're a betting man, you'll be putting your money on Cork.
The one thing about this, I suppose, you have to take into account from Tip's point of view, and coming back to what I was saying a moment ago about the tension and the atmosphere here. You know, it's all great crack for us who are watching these things and looking forward to the occasion. The players are down there, actually, you know this. Cyril, you've managed teams and the butterflies and the tummy and all that kind of stuff. The first 5-10 minutes here will be critical for Tip.
The build-up can be terrible, Michael. Going from the hotel to the pitch and on the bus and everyone coming up, once the throw-in comes, it's beautiful. You're in the action, that's what you want. But the build-up before that, like, you know, you look at Jim McMahon last Sunday for Clare. He's only in 4 weeks back from America. He has a fantastic game. Now, scientific approaches, all this warm-up and all the big talks, and maybe it'll come around the other way again, that maybe all this should be done, well, it should be done the week before now, but maybe it's too much so, because fellas can stroll out. Dolan yesterday playing football for Westmeath, he went from took a helicopter from a wedding, went out, played a brilliant match, hopped back on the helicopter, back to the wedding again. There was no big warm-up there for him, and yet he had a great game.
It's probably down to character.
To say to the viewers at home, there's a minute's silence being observed here in Páirc at the moment, and after that we'll be handing you over to the commentary box to Martin Morrissey and to Michael Dyken.
Good afternoon and welcome to Páirc on the banks of the Lee. It's the 78th championship clash between Cork and Tipperary. Cork have won 36 times, Tipperary 33, 7 draws and just 1 match abandoned, that in 1926. Will it be Liam Sheedy or Dermot McCarthy to guide them to victory? In GA, they talk about Dublin-Meath rivalry, about Derry Tyrone, but something special is Cork and Tipperary in the Munster Championship. Tipperary won the toss and decided to play from left to right, from the city end to the Blackrock end. They go into the attack with Lark Corbett intercepting there. Nice ball inside, fires the man who's very much on form, that is Shane McGrath. And the Premier boys are on their way.
And Marty, interesting there. First ball straight into in front of Lark Corbett, and he was a yard out ahead of Dermot O'Sullivan. Lovely hand pass and a good start by Shane McGrath, who's outstanding so far this year for Tipperary.
A wonderful atmosphere in the city and indeed around the county as well. As, this was more or less a sellout a number of weeks ago. James Woodrock's effort is brought down. Tipperary will want to settle early. They had a warm-up session in Douglas. Arrived in the city around 11:30. Looking very eager to prove that their league success was no fluke. Down towards Lark Corbett. Dermot O'Sullivan knocks it away. Willie Ryan trying to pick it up, knocked away for his the captain, John Gardner from the Páirc. Well won by Conor O'Mahony with a fabulous league campaign. Backfires, Drummond inches in and bucket, dispossessed under pressure. Cahill knocked it, named at number 15, operating already around the half-forward line. Very fast, making an angle, difficult one. Floats it in and sends it over the bar. Newtown Shandron is on form. And it's because of that level of performance that he's bringing to the equation that keeps All-Star Joe Dean on the substitute bench.
Yeah, super player, made a big impact against Waterford a couple of years ago, coming on and scoring the goal. But you know, that's what the modern game is about. You need pace in your attack, and Nocton certainly has that. A great start to the game, open for them.
Our head-to-head this afternoon as well is between Carl Nocton and Willie Ryan, the two number 15s. This is Lark Corbett. It's straight over the bar. He clenches the fist because he knows that's the first bite for him, scoring off no other quality player than Dermot the Rock O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and Corbett, Marty, outstanding in the National League. I read an article this morning about, you know, the trouble he's had with his hamstrings over the years, and there was a little rumour going on this morning that maybe he had a twinge, but the way he started, there's definitely nothing wrong. He was on fire out there.
Breaking ball. James Woodlock played in the half-forward line primarily during the league, but his partnership with Shane McGrath is quite strong, and obviously Liam Sheedy feels that that is the best partnership to have when it comes to championship time.
Yeah, interesting, Marty. Just on that one, you know, Jerry O'Connor and Tom Kenny probably changed the style of midfield play. You know, serious athletes, cover huge ground, get a couple of scores each. And Tipperary have exactly the same type of midfield now. You know, it's developed. The old days was kind of a one strong mover and a skillful hurler, but that's the way it's gone now. You need athletes all over the field, and certainly in the middle field there we have some battle.
Sideline ball from Ben O'Connor. Eamon Buckler under a bit of pressure. He's the corner back on the ground. Struggling for the clean possession of the slipper. Linesman waves his flag. Advantage to Tipperary. Well, the Tipperary manager has done so well, taking over a team from Babs Keating. He did it with the minors, and former cornerback, good player in his own playing days.
He was cornerback himself. Mick Ryan ran the full back line in '89, the best in the under 21 All Ireland, and I was in the full forward line that day, so I know a lot about them. Two tough men, I can tell you that.
I'd say you were well able to mind yourself, Michael Duignan. There comes Cork. Timmy McCarthy. Eamon Corcoran and Conor Mahoney were in control of the matters, but they allowed it to their midfield colleague, Shane McGrath, to deliver it. Well cut out. Here's the Rock. And the Leesiders love it. Into the centre, tries Tom Kenny. Under a bit of pressure from Ryan O'Dwyer and James Woodlock. Here's Dermot O'Sullivan. Eyes on the ball all the time. Takes the shoulder, delivers the pass. Ben O'Connor going to take this free. 29-year-old, 3 times an All-Ireland medalist. Steadying influence. Looks at the target, slices the shot. Wide ball. Well, now that the dust has settled a small bit, Michael, I mean, considering I know the hurlers weren't involved in the strike as such, it wasn't their fault, although they did support it. Does that put pressure on when it comes to championship time, playing in front of their own crowd?
Yeah, it probably does. You know, I think down here against Tip, to be expected to do well anyway, but you know, they showed great unity in that strike, and the Rock again. They showed great unity. I think that'll bond them together. You know, it's probably forgotten about it at the end of the day, but it certainly stands in the darker moments as the year goes on.
Sideline ball. Going to be taken by Sean O'Halpine. Good ball as well. Cathal Naughton puts up the hand. Nice little stick work. Goes back to Eamon Corcoran. Not quite intended, but it works out fine. Goes to Shane McGrath. Carries a lot of power, but not accuracy. Third, first wide, in fact, for Tipperary. Donal O'Cusick is waiting for his fullback to get some attention. Dermot O'Sullivan, like so many of these hurlers, 3 times an All-Star. From the Cloyne Club, as Gerald McCarthy and his colleague selector Ger Fitzgerald look on and make sure that their fullback is able to resume. It just seems to be a little winded. And he goes over to Mark Lar Corbett. Donal O'Cusick. Good work by Kevin Canty. Fires Timmy McCarthy. Back fires Ben O'Connor. The gap is opened. The shot is there. Goal for Cork. A simple goal, but from a Cork perspective, a beautiful goal. Tipperary down the middle. We're so cruelly exposed here, but you'll see what I mean in terms of simplicity. Tipperary were found ball watching. In comes O'Connor. Simple strike. Great start for the home side. Ben O'Connor. Down fires Cody O'Sullivan with lots of expectations. Down lee side about this young man who's making his debut. Cathal Naughton. Naughton fine to the corner. He threw that ball, however, and that's going to be a free for Tipperary.
The ref seems to indicate me gave a little slap back or something. But just back to the goal, Marty. Just watching Timmy McCarthy off camera, and he showed his experience. He snuck in behind Eamon Corcoran and just hoping to be a break, broke onto the ball, and then Ben O'Connor. How many times have we seen that over the years? But the experience there of the Cork forwards shown, and a great goal for Cork. They needed a tipper just slightly on top, but that really puts the game in the balance again.
Conor O'Mahony going to take this. I have to say I thought it was a throw ball, was my initial judgment of it, but it's a free for Tipperary. And this ball is sent in, and that is coming back off the post. Cork quick to react. This is Ronan Curran. Confident play by the home side. Down first to McCarthy. Local sources tell me he's regained his form. Looks good so far. Fine catch. Good play by Shane Marr from Burgess, North Tipperary. Same club as great Tony Nealon. And here comes Cork again. Low ball. Easy ball. Shane Marr. James Woodlock trying to get into the space. Donald O'Cusick has all the time to gather. Nobody immediately available, so goes for the long delivery. Added to by McCarthy. Knocked away by Conor O'Mahony. Solid at centre half back since he moved there last season. Ball inside fires Seamus Cameron, comes off his fingertips. Easily gathered by right corner back Shane O'Neill. Timmy McCarthy causing problems, surprisingly I would say, for Eamon Corcoran in the early stages. One against one up here. Cody O'Sullivan is underneath it. Local fans say was he fouled? Certainly wasn't from either the referees or indeed from my perspective. That ball comes up. Páirc Gardner. Superb catch. There's football with McPherson. Down first Ben O'Connor, goal scorer, providing the overlap. Is his other brother going for the shot, going for the point. White flag raised. Jerry O'Connor is down on the official programme as wearing the opposite number that he's wearing, but that is Jerry O'Connor, and it's the O'Connor twins that have scored so far. This was the throw ball, yes, absolutely. Cathal Naughton guilty of the charge. Timmy McCarthy, breaking ball. Eamon Corcoran will have to get a lot tighter. Naughton operating as a third midfielder, doing well. Slicker through to Hurley. Out to Ben O'Connor. Back outside, waiting for this Pat Cronin. This is Naughton. Has a shot, blocked. Not quite. Still made the target. Cork are on a rock and roll here. They're doing well.
Yeah, they're flying at Marty. Cathal Naughton's all over the place. He's out as Youssef playing as the third midfielder. But Ben O'Connor's at the middle of everything, and Jerry O'Connor covering ground. Looking at Dermot O'Sullivan off the ball doesn't look that comfortable to me. Looks maybe like a back injury, but he's certainly not moving well at all. Lara Corbett's gone 40 yards away from him there again.
Jerry O'Connor loses possession. Sideline ball for Tipperary. Gone over to take this is Shane McGrath. The umpire has called for the attention of the referee, and there's going to be perhaps a word with a defender or perhaps an attacker, but just had a quiet word with Ronan Curran. Barry Kelly says play on. Barry Kelly with all his colleagues from St Oliver Plunkett's and Mullingar officiating at this crucial Munster Championship semi-final. That's a good cut, but it's off target. Second walk for Tipperary. Puck out is quickly taken. The referee has blown his whistle. Said, retake it please, Mr. Cusack. Donald Cusack, such an influential figure here in Cork hurling circles, made his championship debut back in 1999 against Waterford. Won a Harty Cup 4 years previous with Middleton CBS. The area of East Cork, very much a hurling territory. Shane McGrath comes eventually to a Cork man. Ben O'Connor gives it back. There's Timmy McCarthy. Nice pickup. Sends it low for his Nocton. He's switching from wing to wing into the centre. Hand pass inside to his centre half forward Kevin Canty from Valley Rovers, making an angle for himself, dropping this in. It's not a bad ball. Pat Coleman is in there. So too is Paul Curran. Referee has blown his whistle and he's given a free out to Tipperary. Now Cork, Michael, have got the start that they very much desired.
Yeah, they have, obviously working very hard. Their tactic is big men, Timmy McCarthy and Canty, breaking the ball and then movement all around. Nocton's causing havoc at the moment. You'd wonder should Tipperary put a man out on him.
Here's Lar Corbett in front of the stand. Has a shot. That is wide. 3 wide to Tipperary so far. Cathal Nocton makes a run over to the far side. Here's Cathal. A little bit of pressure from James Woodlock. Rhino Dwyer is there too. Shane Maher. Nice pickup by Jerry O'Connor to the other brother, Ben. Jerry is gone inside. He's under pressure, his twin, but eventually Tipperary regain possession. Good block down by Kevin Canty off the hurley of Shane McGrath. Comes to Jerry O'Connor, going for another point. The umpire moves from behind the net and waves the white flag. Focused, determined, and providing it on the field of play, the O'Connor twins. Between them, they've scored a goal and 2 points out of that total of 1-4.
Yeah, and Cork looked after again that hunger, Marty. From last year, they had a couple of injuries. The 2 O'Connors were struggling, and we started to think maybe the likes of Sean Oak and Dermot Sullivan, a few more, they might be gone over the top. But you mentioned the strike area, that's obviously galvanised them, but they look very fresh as well. And Gerald McCarthy, took a little while to put his stamp on the team, but their forward line there moving very, very well. It's the first time I've seen this tip defence under pressure since the latter stages of the league. They were well on top against Waterford, Kilkenny and Galway, but they're really stretched at the moment.
Well, I know you mentioned it, Michael, but I was down here reporting on that strike, and I've never seen a group of players so committed. And if they can provide that on the field of play today, then it could well be a Cork victory. Tom Kenny providing leadership and strength. Hurley is dropped, but Tom Kenny has the hurley and the ball. Looks for the support. There's a jersey pull by Conor O'Mahony, spotted by the referee Barry Kelly. That's another free for the Leesiders. Playing well, Tom Kenny from Grenagh. Former Dean Ryan medalist with St Finbar Sparrow Ferris, the north side of Cork. Ben O'Connor going to take this. Steadying influence. Still providing hurleys for the Munster region with his father Bernie. Newtown Shandrum continues to make them. Continues to be able to use it as well. And at this stage, would you believe that Tipperary have not scored for 14 minutes of this first half? Cork 1-5, Tipperary 2 points. 6-point advantage. Brendan Cummins taking his puck out. Sean Gardner providing leadership. Ronan Curran well hooked. There's a chance here for Tipperary. Space opens up in front of Willie Ryan. And he avails of that space to register his first point in this Munster Championship semi-final.
Yeah, to be fair to the tip full forward line, any ball they've got, they've looked dangerous, but Owen Kelly hasn't seen the ball yet. They're not winning any possession out around the middle of the field, and their half back line have hardly cleared the ball, so Cork are winning all the brilliant catch by John Gardner. Unbelievable. Tip are winning every bit of primary possession, and their tip half back line are really going to have to come into the game more.
Conor O'Mahony delivering it in towards Brian Murphy. Mark Corbett, that familiar pose, that familiar style, familiar result. Yes! Second point for the Sarsfields man from the home of hurling, Thurlestown. Great point.
Darren O'Sullivan is nowhere near him, Marty. I think he's in big trouble. I know his tactic is obviously not to follow him out the field in case he slips in behind him for a goal, but he's struggling with injury.
Large crowds coming in behind Donald Cusick's goal. We continue on with Jerry O'Connor. We'll bring you pictures of that in a moment as Tipperary go into the attack. Here's James Woodlock being chased by, yes, Carl Nocton, who's operating as their third midfielder. Woodlock's shot is right and wide. Well, back in 1926, the game between Cork and Tipperary, the only time the game was abandoned was because of crowd control. Here it is, 2008, and we have something perhaps like a similar situation. We're also getting into our camera position down there, which is probably going to pose us a few problems, but we hope it won't interfere with your enjoyment. I remember when Páirc was opened officially, back in the 70s, I think it was, Cork and Kerry, similar scene when Billy Morgan was between the posts for Cork. Meanwhile, it's 2008, it's hurling, and it's Tom Kenny flicking it. Paris' midfield partner. They've been together since 2004 at centre field for Cork. Dropping ball, Kevin Canty lashes onto it. Here's Paddy O'Sullivan, turns, short grip, floats it high, over the bar. The league champions have serious problems in various sections because Cork look most impressive.
Yeah, well, Marty, in that situation, high ball in, tip out the extra man back there, should be able to deal with that. Paddy nips in, great prospect he is, but you can't have it both ways. If your cornerback is not going to follow out Cathal Nocton, who's causing havoc inside, well, he has to pick up the ball when it comes in around the square.
You can see the Gardaí working strenuously here to make sure that everybody gets back as far as possible. Here comes centre half forward Seamus Callanan. The umpires have a brief look. As you can see, he was waving his arms. 19 minutes gone in this first half. Only 5 points between the teams, but you have to say, in terms of impressiveness, that honour falls to Cork. And just a statistic for you, 1-5 out of that 1-6 for Cork has come from play. Fine catch in the middle of the field there, Terry O'Connor, here's Sean O'Halpin, captain of the All-Ireland winning team in 2005. Being chased by Seamus Butler. Good running in the centre, waiting for this Jimmy McCarthy. Looking dangerous, good hook by Eamon Corcoran. Plenty of Tipperary defenders there. One of them is Conor O'Brien from Air Rogan and McCarthy, one of the two debutants. Here's Owen Kelly getting his first touch after 19, almost 20 minutes of play. Puts it onto his right-hand side. He's going for the point. It's swinging left, and it's wide. Half a dozen wides for Tipperary. They're finding it difficult to find their rhythm. This cauldron of fire and passion is a big, huge test for Liam Sheedy and his team. Donald Cusick, quick puck out again to Sean O'Halpin. It's part of the skill and part of the factors that Donald Cusick brings to the table when it comes to championship, those quick puck outs. Sherry O'Connor to Tom Kenny. Eamon Corcoran gets in a hurling. Good hurling by Corcoran, just making sure that nobody in a red jersey would get possession. James Woodlock makes an angle. First to react, easy ball for Shane O'Neill from Bishopstown. South side of Cork City to a north sider, John Gardner. To a man from the north county of Cork, Ben O'Connor. Cathal Nocton, his teammate, clubmate, making an angle. Floating it in again. Nocton this time is over the bar. Nocton came to the scene, of course, in 2006 when he came on as a substitute against Waterford and scored a cracking goal. He's been hovering around the team for a number of years, but he's proving his point. You can see why Gerald McCarthy has picked Nocton at number 15. Conor O'Brien takes the slipper from Brendan Cummins. Drops it in long. Gardner again, second great catch. Beautiful to watch. Then goes back to try and ejaculate up himself. Loses the slipper, however. Comes to Owen Kelly. Tries again for a point. Dropping a little bit short. Donald Cusick. Players make all sorts of runs. Goes down the middle route. Tries Cathal Nocton. Tipperary are finding it difficult to cope with Nocton's role as a third midfielder. Paddy O'Sullivan. chasing after him is Eamon Buckley. Goes back. Pat Cronin wants it in long. Here comes Timmy McCarthy. Oh, that's a lovely little rob by Eamon Corcoran. Good hurling by the former All-Star. Coming through the centre, Seamus Callan. Another drum and inch play. Woodlock hits off the boots of Jerry O'Connor. Seamus Callan. Tom Kenny is there to help out. Takes the shoulder. Has to try and get past the first challenge. Coming from left half back is Sean O'Halpine. Survives the initial charge from Conor O'Mahony, and O'Halpine, legendary Sean O'Halpine, puts it over the bar, and Cork are most impressive.
And that's Cork at their best, you know. Jerry O'Connor, Tom Kenny involved. And what about Sean Og after all these years? What a man. And up the field and over the bar. But you said there, Marty, Tip are finding it hard to cope with the tournament. They're making no attempt to cope with it. They have to bring somebody out, whether it be corner forward, Willie Ryan, someone to come out and close down that space. But you wouldn't see it in under 14 match. Cathal Naughton had so much time and space. He had 3 points scored, and they have to do something about it, or the game will be over.
And I'm a little bit surprised as we look at Conor O'Brien, who picked up an injury, because the word on the street here in Cork, and I'm sure Tipperary have their sources, that Naughton would not stay at top of the left, that he would actually play this role.
Yeah, and that was, you know, you'd expect him that. He's a great athlete. They weren't going to leave him isolated in the corner. But just now, Conor O'Brien has just moved out now to pick him up out in the middle of the field. But now there's going to leave more room inside, and this is what Cork wanted in the first place. So let's see how this goes.
Tucked out by Brendan Cummins. John Gardner again tries to catch that ball first time. Lar Corbett by Seamus Callanan. Owen Kelly. This is when he's most dangerous. Trying to turn, takes a shot. Oh, what a brilliant goal! One ball, one shot, one goal. It took him 23 minutes to get it. 20 minutes to touch the slipper for the first time. 3 minutes later, Tip are back in business. Just watch this. This is a star in action. Grabs the ball, turns inside, gets by the challenge of Brian Murphy, and then whacks it past Donald O'Cusick. Quality, class.
That's brilliance. Marty at its best. Brian Murphy did nothing wrong. Donald Logue nothing wrong. Just a brilliant ball from a brilliant player. And that brings Tip back into it now. Conor Bryan is now out and knocked him. And let's get 15 on 15 now.
Ball kept up by Shane McGrath. Has to float it in high because of under pressure. There's O'Sullivan. Sean O'Halpine. Under a bit of pressure from Ryan O'Dwyer. That's good play in Tipperary, although I think Gerald McCarthy was claiming that his left half back was fouled. 2 against 1 here. In comes Willie Ryan. He's the one with the yellow helmet. Although there are 5 Tipperary players with yellow helmets playing this afternoon, which makes identification a little bit difficult. But Gerald McCarthy quite animated along the sideline, but this time Barry Kelly says it is a free to Cork. Donald O'Cusick will go it on, but again there is a little bit of a schmozzle down at the other end as we were watching the crowd being monitored by the Gardaí. This needs to be monitored by the referee.
Might need the Gardaí.
And Barry Kelly is going to check with his umpires and have a word, and I'm sure that at least one player will receive a yellow card, if not a black book. Let's see what happens. 2 players being called.
Cathal
Naughton and Conor O'Brien, because we did actually capture just a moment ago where the 2 boys were shouldering into each other after Conor O'Brien's injury. When Conor went back to mark Cathal Naughton, you could see that there was a little bit of animosity there between them.
Well, when you're corner back and your man gets 3 points and you can't do anything about it because you're not allowed to go out and mark him, there's a bit of frustration going to keep in, but Conor O'Brien is determined he's not going to get any more, so we should have a closer battle, and we'll find out about Cathal Naughton's battling qualities now as well.
Yellow card for both players, by the way, for Cathal Naughton and Conor O'Brien. As this ball drops in, under pressure, Tipperary defence, they get it out just a little bit. Conor O'Mahony. Kevin Canty is chasing after him, but it looks like Conor O'Mahony has stepped out over the end line and conceded a 65. The umpire waving his hand into the air. The referee has spotted it. Just watch this again as Conor O'Mahony, yes, he did step outside, and I think the ball was outside as well. umpires Michael Coyle and Seamus O'Brien down at that city end as this ball is sent in by John Gardner, and in fact sent wide. 4 points between the teams, and that cracking goal by Owen Kelly brings Tipperary back into the equation. David O'Sullivan, Ronan Curran, solid as always. Cody O'Sullivan, nice stick work, floats it in, but it's going to be a little bit short. Gathered by Brendan Cummins. Ops with a long ball. Long tuck, All-Ireland champion in the past. Mark Corbett knocked it down to Willie Ryan. Turns. Umpires again seem to take up a reasonably good position despite the crowd behind them. That ball is wide. 7 wides for Tipperary, 28 minutes gone.
Yeah, they've had a number of easy chances. You know, they should be closer. They settled into the game a bit better now. Kelly's goal is after settling them down, and you know, if they could get back a point or two now before half time, should be in for a great second half.
Breaking ball down towards Jerry O'Connor. Knocked back by John Gardner. Into the centre. First to react, Paul Curran. Under a little bit of pressure. Who has the slipper? Páirc Ronan. That is wide. Third wide of the game for the Leesiders. But they do look dangerous on this new look Cork full forward line. All 3 players under 21 this year. Cummins' puck out. All the way down past Brian Murphy. Half blocked by Seamus Butler. Sent in quickly. John Gardner has to go back to sweep up. Under a little bit of pressure from Ryan O'Dwyer. Shane O'Neill makes himself available to his captain. That's good play by the right corner back. Good clearance as well. Conor O'Brien, much more prominent now since moved out to Mark Nocton, to Seamus Butler. Hitting a shot in again. Another wide. 8 wides for Tipperary. First half. Puck out is quickly taken. Sean O'Halpine. Cathal Nocton has the time to deliver a big long ball in towards Páirc Ronan. Touch here is vital. Knocked away by Paul Curran. Referee showed that the full forward was pushing. Correct call by the official. That's going to be a free out for the Premier County.
Yeah, the minute Cathal Nocton got that, Páirc Ronan called for the high ball. He's obviously a big man, good in the air, but in fairness to Paul Curran, he's keeping last year's All-Star full-back Declan Fanning off the team, so he's a very, very good player, and he's done Pierce well so far in Groningen.
Paul Curran, in fact, had a very good league campaign at full-back. And his opposite number 3 is under pressure here. Coming to his rescue is centre-half back Ronan Curran. Good call by Eamon Buckley. James Woodlock. Cathal Nocton coming in to challenge. Woodlock goes for the score. And it's another wide. That's 9 wides for Tipperary. And I'm sure Liam Sheedy will be saying to his men at half-time, please, please deliver the ball in. That's what they have. Lar Corbett, they have Willie Ryan, they have Owen Kelly. And to be honest with you, the supply is minimal.
Yeah, they've 1-3 scored between them from a few balls. They're looking very, very dangerous, and that's what they'd be doing. Just tip it in front of the full forward line all day with players like that in there.
Shane McGrath. Breaking ball. Referee blew the whistle. Parkman Brian Murphy, corner back, just seemed to get a knock there, and that's for the foul and the strike. Accidental, but it's still a free. As Tipperary are going to introduce a substitute. Pat Kerwick from Killinall is coming on. And the player that's going off is Ryan O'Dwyer from Cashel Kincormacs. Looks like Brian Murphy needs some added attention as well. Great cornerback Brian Murphy has really developed in his now 4th championship season. You may recall in the 2004 All-Ireland final against Kilkenny, he had to come off in that final because of migraine. Lovely lad. He's going off for some attention from Dr. Con Murphy. Cork substitute, by the way, is Shane Murphy from the Aaron's Own Club. He goes in at cornerback momentarily, and Shane O'Neill has been switched from right corner to left corner in an effort to make sure that Owen Kelly doesn't do any more damage. Meanwhile, Tipperary's defence gets under pressure. Corey O'Sullivan. Eamon Corker tries to defend it. Sullivan flicks it outside, tries Pat Cronin. Has a shot, not two, is wide. 9 wides for Tipperary, 4 wides for Cork in this first half.
Yeah, the wides are taken from the game a bit, Martin. You know, there's some very easy chances there, and you need a few scores. There hasn't been a score now for a while, and you know they should be tapped over the bar, a lot of those balls, and they take from the atmosphere of the game.
John Gardner, despite Pat Kerwick's best efforts, still gets the ball down the field. You can see some statistical information about the time since the last score for both Cork and Tipperary. It's been a while. Conor O'Brien, much more prominent. It's 2 against 2. It's Kelly against Shane O'Neill. Still Kelly trying to get an angle to shoot. Hits a shot blocked by Donald O'Cusick. Pat Kerwick is latching onto it. Sean O'Halpine is there. Get it out is the back's message. And Diarmaid O'Sullivan flings it down towards Blackrock. Out over the stand. Anywhere will do. And Diarmaid O'Sullivan, as always, coolness personified. This was really dangerous because once Kelly gets the ball, he was determined to have a shot. Donald O'Cusick, good save. Sideline ball quickly taken. Now Corbett's. Tom Kenny got a hurley to it, so too Jerry O'Connor. Here's Sean O'Halpine. Here's the hand pass. And away from Cork. Being chased by 2 Tipperary players. That's Tom Kenny. Loses out to Conor O'Brien, who's done well. Out there is Lar Corbett. That's Seamus Cannon. Cannon is fouled. 3 to Tipperary. Well, if I happen to be Liam Sheedy, and I'm not, but if I was, I'd be saying get the ball into Owen Kelly, because every time you could see Cork have palpitations.
Yeah, and Corbett and Willie Ryan, to be fair, you know, simple ball is all they have to play in there. But they'll be happy enough now. You know, they were 7 points down, got the goal, free now by Owen Kelly, bring them back, you know, to a couple of points. And Conor O'Brien going out on Cathal Naughton, you know, that needed to be done earlier. Okay, bit of inexperience maybe on the sideline, but they got it done now, and since he's gone out there, he's won 2 or 3 good balls off Naughton.
We believe Brian Murphy has received some stitches to his chin. He's still getting medical care. He's coming back in as Owen Kelly takes this free. Straight between the posts. And I can tell you that in fact Brian Murphy is returning to the battle. And the man that's going off is Shane Murphy. This is what happened when Brian Murphy went up with the ball. It was just a little strike there for the slither, not deliberate. Meanwhile, live, it's Pat Kerwick. John Gardner over that side with him. Kerwick from right in front of the sideline at the far side. Sends that over. Already. He's proven that Liam Sheedy's decision to bring him in for Rhino Dwyer was the correct one. 2 points between the teams. A first half that I'm sure that Liam Sheedy will be glad to see his side head into the dressing room if that is the score. Because in the early 15-20 minutes it was all Cork. Eamon Corcoran knocking it down. Unmarked. Lar Corbett hits it without even looking. Donald O'Cusick can do nothing except wave at it. 3 points for Lar Corbett. Emphasising once again that the ball should be going in to that inside line. Fabulous score. Didn't even look where the goalposts were. Cork have not scored in this first half since the 22nd minute, and suddenly you can see that Tipperary are beginning to believe that perhaps after 86 years they could beat Cork in Páirc Ronan Kerr flicking it forward. There's a Cork man down injured, top of your screen. Meanwhile, it's Kevin Canty looking around. His effort is blocked by his marker, Conor O'Mahony. Into the space. Should be Shane O'Neill. John Gardner available. Goes for the long delivery. 2 against 2 here. Timmy McCarthy and Eamon Corcoran. Conor O'Mahony seemed to get an accidental knock from Páirc Cronin. In fact, Páirc Cronin has gone down as well. And the referee has blown his whistle and called for the medical teams from both counties to come on. Well, we're into injury time, Michael Dagnan. Your thoughts as we head to the break? 1 point between the teams.
Yeah, it's a strange game, a little bit subdued, but that can happen. You know, a lot of pressure, huge crowd. Obviously, there's no ticket control or anything like that down here today, but Cork had a great start. Tipperary backing it down. That's the way these championship games are often able to flow, you know. But you know, I think a lot of nerves settling down now as well. And Cork have been very, very dominant, but Tipperary should be ahead. You know, when you look at all the wides they've had, even though Cork did look more dangerous at times. But you know, let's get it into tip full forward line. Liam Sheedy be saying, and Cork will be looking for a bit more movement in their full forward line. Paddy O'Sullivan and Páirc had one very little ball in there.
Conor O'Mahony still receiving attention, but I think Páirc got a yellow card as well. And Liam Sheedy, I think overall, considering his team's performance, will be happy to just be 1 point behind. Brendan Cummins with the free. Dropping it in. Jimmy O'Sullivan doesn't quite connect. Coming through Seamus Butler. Sean O'Halpine is back there. Defending. Giving out a good ball, and the referee Barry Kelly from Mullingar in County Westmeath blows the half-time whistle. Sean O'Halpine scoring a first half point was inspirational as Cork dominated for about 20 minutes thanks to a Ben O'Connor goal after 7 minutes. But then a wonderful strike by this man after 23 minutes. Owen Kelly brought Tipperary back into the game. And as they head to the dressing room here in Páirc on the banks of the Lee, this has been a most interesting first half, and we'll be joining Cyril and Anthony for their views in a moment. Half time, it's Cork 1-8, Tipperary 1-7.
Before our commercial break, Sag has a quick comment from Cyril Farrell. Indeed, Cyril, for a while there it looked like Cork were going to run away with this, but Tip right back in it now.
Yeah, Cork set the pattern early on. Cork knocked without trouble in midfield. Tip seemed like their side them were a bit slow. They copped on after a while, but like he ran over 3 points, so completely on top and kind of cruising. Great goal by Owen Kelly, brought Tip back in, and I'd say Liam Sheedy would be happy to have them. They're only a point on because Cork did dominate, even though Tip missed chances. But like it's anyone's game, and it's Cork might be doing too much sharp passes really, but like it's there for the taking.
It is for both sides. More on this Munster hurling semi-final right after the commercial break. 23, but as we've seen and Marty has referred to there in the first half, quite a number of those of that crowd are actually down behind what was Donlow Cusack's goal for that first half. In actual fact, when the match started here, about 5-10 minutes into the game, there was still quite a crowd outside. You could see them from our vantage point here, hoping to get into this match. Gardaí handling it very well, and as you can see, pretty good humoured down there and quite relaxed, but quite relaxed so far anyway, unless Tip take command of this game in the second half. Anthony,
it's a bit like a tournament game, Michael. You know, you'd see it at the opening of a field, but like that was fine in the first half where Donlow was, and bad enough for Brendan Cummins to have 10,000 Cork supporters on the terrace, sure, without a few hundred more in around your goal. So yeah, he'd be concerned a bit with that.
Yeah, Brendan Cummins, I think, will be getting a bit of advice in the second half down there.
Exactly. I think, you know, high ball coming in, he'd not only have to crowd on the terrace, he'll have a few near him as well. He'll be hoping the umpires can keep him back.
No better man to deal with. How do you read this first half?
Overall, sure, funny. Just goes to show these Munster Championship matches, funny affairs, Michael. You know, a bit stop-start, a lot of poor wides. Tip starting off, they had 8 very bad wides by the 30th minute, and then we saw Cork near the end of it having a few terrible wides. Obviously, the start, I thought Tip looked very nervous, not sure of their play. Then the Cork moved out, Carl Nocton, didn't know how to handle it. Will we let Conor Bryan go with him? Will we keep him in? What do we do? In that situation, for me, I would have brought out one of my forwards to pick him up and leave my backs as they were, leave my 3 and my full back line. Now, since they've moved him out, it has changed it, and he has done well on Nocton and has been with him, and that has stopped the flow of the puck outs.
The problem inside, Anthony, is Ronan Curran is doing very well on Páirc Cronin, but if anyone inside catches one, it's 2 against 2, you know, it's wide open in there.
It's all freakmanship, isn't it?
But like it's dicey.
If he does fetch one, that's the big one. If he does fetch one,
and also that bit of uncertainty, Cyril, kind of that was directly related to Cork's first goal, because they cut us right down to the middle.
Yeah, well, as Anthony said, Tip started very nervous, like, and you know, Timmy McCarthy, these guys, like, they read this play very well, and Ben O'Connor gets on. You see it here now, puck out coming down here. Timmy goes in on this ball, they're all underneath it. Now he just gets it, tries to take this can't here, kicks it on a small bit. And Timmy gets on here, doesn't take it off, it breaks here. And look, where's the Tip full back line? All out ball watching. Bang, Ben O'Connor runs on to sticks it back. Look where they're gone out after them in. Once the ball breaks in here, there's no one inside in the full back line. Ben O'Connor won this game and sets up Cork for a great start. He flicks it up, back on his flick down, gives Ben Cummins no chance. But there's none of the full back line inside the 14-yard line. They're all sucked out. Once the ball breaks, they're caught on the wrong foot. It sets up Cork to start off very well, and at that stage, they're completely on top.
we saw some superb points from Cork. I mean, people like Cathal Naughton and Jerry O'Connor, superb stick player, but nonetheless it also is again indicative of the fact the Tip didn't quite know what to do with them at this stage.
No, they seem to have all the time in the world, Michael. There seem to be situations where they could look up. We see Ben here, sees Jerry running the days of old. I have nightmares about thinking back on those ones. Jerry floats it over. Seems as if there's no marketing, like. There's total confusion because Naughton's out there.
Outside,
the two midfielders don't know who am I picking up. There's three of them here. And that space is created. See again, Timmy, who made a great start, gives to Naughton. Like, Naughton is a 100-metre sprinter, like. And again, sets up Ben, turns back, plenty of time on the ball, has a look up, doesn't panic, back to Naughton, floats over again. Great space on the ball, great time. And you know, you can't be giving fellas a two-time like that.
Thought there was 2 or 3 Cathal Naughtons on the field.
They did, you see, but they moved out during O'Brien after when things started. Like this stage, like Cork were flicking. And once you let them kind of do this little tippy-tappy hurling, you're in trouble. They're going to flick it around here again, breaks down here. Now Tip at this stage are starting to get to grips with again, blocked down, another little touch here. Younger son, this is again O'Connor again and Floods. At this stage, Cork were completely on top and they're going way ahead. And if Tip didn't come back into the game at this stage, Cork looked to be going to put this game out of reach.
Points from Jerry O'Connor out along the right side of the field there. They're so classic of Merton. They Tip needed something served. They needed something special. They got it.
And
special man.
The man to do it. Again, as Anthony was saying earlier on, the ball should be going into the full back line. Beautiful ball in here now. See this? Looks up, floats it in. Now watch this. He catches this ball. Cornerback Murphy does not belong. Stays inside. McKenny drives in where he can step back and bang. The advantage of being able to hit a two-sided. If he'd only one side, he was caught. The cornerback, Brian Murphy, does not belong. Stays on his inside, but he shoves him back. Kenny lets him from back and bang onto his right side. He's done no chance. Now that's a brilliant goal, and he gives the goalie no chance. Does everything right. Even the cornerback does nothing wrong. Don't knows it's coming.
Question of steps, Mike. I would say there's possibly 7-8 steps. I suppose the lads will have
it isn't that, Mike. He'll always be on the back side, this fella.
The next one maybe held him up, but if you watch it, he does take 7-8. Like
the next one, not that one.
Well, he does on that one as well. If you watch it, there's 7-8 steps possibly, sir. I'd say
playing the ball.
Murphy will be watching that. The lads will have a look at it in the studio, I'm sure, for tonight and say, you know, did he overcarry something? But they needed it. They needed a bit of genius.
Look all they like. Green flag waves. That's the end of it, isn't it?
But if you're Kelly in the dressing room now, Michael, you're surely saying, will you hit it into me? And Larry Corbin has got 3 points in play, and we said about the Rock.
The Rock is injured,
off the pace.
Sack is gone. He pulls him in his back. He's just holding from back. He's not going out after him at all. Like Larry can float them over all day, but as Andy said, there's not enough ball going in.
Have to wait and see will we see the Rock for the second half of this match, and indeed the second half of this Munster hurling semi-final is coming up after the break. Hurling semi-final between Cork and Tipperary, and just to reiterate the scoreline for you, Cork leading by the single point, 1-8 to 1-7. But you'll have seen some of the wides that Tip hooked in that first half could certainly have put them a point or two up at this stage in the game, although I think they'll be quite happy to be in touch after going through a bad period in it. And that's a check on our matchup of the 2 corner forwards on either side, and advantage Cork, obviously Cathal Naughton has put 3 points in that first half. Now, by the way, our big game here at Páirc is also up on the RTE website at the moment. If you go to www.rte.ie/GEA, you can log on to that. And we also have the Tyrone Down Ulster Football Clash available after this game. Highlights of all of today's big matches on our Sunday game later edition, including the meeting of Dublin and Louth in the Leinster Football Championship. And just take note that programme is at the slightly later time of 10:05. Well, now I hope everyone is enjoying this big clash between Cork and Tip. Claire McNamara is down pitch side with 2 interested spectators at today's match.
Yes, Michael, thank you. 2 former greats are with me, Cork's Ger Cunningham and Tipperary's Pat Fox. Ger, Cork started off very impressive, but now just that single point in it.
Yeah, Claire, they would be very happy with the start they made. You know, they got up a good lead, 6 or 7 points ahead. Probably a concern in the last 10 or 12 minutes that they haven't scored. So, you know, fairly even, only a point in it all to play for.
How do you see the second half going?
It's going to be very tight. I think Cork might need to bring on their big stars on the subs. Maybe Joe Dean and McCarthy, hopefully to turn the tide in our favour.
Pat, Tip took a while to settle into it. That Owen Kelly goal helped.
Yeah, he did immensely, yeah. They started very well with a great point from Mark Corbett and Shane McGrath. But after about 20 minutes, they went very dead and flat. But in the last 10 minutes, just before the end of the first half, they came back with a great goal from Owen Kelly, and he was very unlucky not to get another one. So if they can keep the pressure on Cork, they have a chance.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, two good ones in their own time. Pat Fox, of course, known as a great forward, but actually played at right full back, I remember, in one of these Cork Tip Munster Championship matches. Waiting for Cork to come out. Sarah, Tip out already, ready to rock and roll for the second half?
Yeah, see, Tip made a switch, Michael, because they had to. Cork has come on and clear quite well. I would feel that Cork should be using their bench bit. Now ball into that full forward line. They look dangerous, but they're not doing it. Now up the middle, like Páirc and Kevin Canty, now they might come in second, but they haven't done a lot of ball going in. If they're not doing it, they're going to have to call on the bench. And if they have three very good forwards there, Ronan, Murphy and Jordine, and they could win that match for them.
Just saw a shot of Liam Sheely, the Tip manager there, Anthony, out talking to the referee. He's saying, look, we're out, we're ready to go, where's Cork?
Yeah, I guess, but you know, there's very little you can do about that. You're saying he might maybe add on a minute or something at the end. I don't know, he might be looking for some angle on it.
Well, there is a designated time.
There is, I suppose, but it's like everything else, Michael. Sure, you know, what do they do, fine or something, you know, that's a bit of that. Like. But if I was Liam Sheely in that dressing room, Michael, what I'd be saying is, when those guys were on strike, we were running up and down hills and sleeving them on, and the back of Thurles, putting in the hours for this day, and I'd be saying to them, let's make it count 35 minutes while they were on strike. No, that was a different issue, separate thing, but I would be stressing that.
Yeah.
I'd be harping back on the work they've put in, and they certainly have it put in, and they must make it bear fruit now in the second half.
He would also be saying to them, sir, look, we had a real bad patch in the middle of that first half. We've come through it, we're only a point down. We can do this.
Oh yeah, they'll be the happiest in the half time because they're out for a good while, 6-7 out, came right back into it. Cork will wonder what went wrong, how did the wheels were off the wagon. Cork will want a very good start again. If Cork will start well in the first 2 minutes, it's Tip's game, but like you could toss a coin at this moment because both teams have missed a lot of scores. Like it's very low scoring, 1-8 to 1-7 at half time in the Munster semi-final.
Plus the clock bench sort as well.
If they use them, that's the big thing.
And by the way, it was 10-1 in the bookies for a draw this morning. It's beginning to look better and better, isn't it? Let's hand you back to the commentary box to rejoin Marty Morrissey and Michael Dignan.
Thank you very much, Michael. That's the scene down at the Blackrock end as you can see the spillover from the spectators. 42,823 here in Páirc as the second half gets underway. No changes on either side. No sunshine, no breeze. It's quite humid, about 20 degrees, which makes it almost perfect for the game of hurling. Let's see what we can witness here in Páirc in this second half. 1 point between the teams. John Gardner nipping in as Willie Ryan. Picked up by Jerry O'Connor. Shane O'Neill has to go back. O'Connor has gone back behind him, but he uses the hurley instead. Down towards Claudio O'Sullivan. Centre half back, Conor O'Mahony. Paul Kern calls for it. Number 3. Now first choice full back. Had to be moved in there when Declan Canning was injured for so long during the league. James Woodlock gets the better of John Gardner on this occasion. Knocked away by Gardner, who kept battling away. Pat Kerwick is number 24. Tom Kenny trying to pick it up again. Out fires Ben O'Connor. Battling hard. It's Woodlock. Fires his midfield partner Shane McGrath. Into the corner. Over towards Owen Kelly. Sweeping up. Brian Murphy. Fires Sean O'Halpine. Delivers the long ball up towards Paul Cronin and Kevin Canty. Breaking ball. Canty trying to get it inside that tight marking Tipperary full back line. Claudio O'Sullivan. Out towards Colin Naughton. Ben O'Connor. It's still O'Sullivan. It's scrappy, but it's great backing qualities, particularly by Naughton. He did the same in the first half. Out towards the sideline. Comes in. Past the 20 and 13. It's a great run. These the Tipperary defenders were dead. And that's deflected and over the bar. He has a tremendous burst of speed, Paul Naughton, and scores his 4th point in this semi-final.
Yeah, and I think it was Paul Kern who actually saved that. Yeah, it was. It put it over the bar. But great start again by Naughton. Young Claudio Sullivan looks to be a very clever hurler. But, you know, some other forwards have to come into the game. Kevin Canty, Timmy McCarthy, Pat Cronin, Seamus Butler, Seamus Callan and Ryan O'Dwyer's gone. A lot of them haven't scored. So you'd like to see a lot of them have to up their performance down the second half.
Pat Kerwick made an impact once he was introduced for Ryan O'Dwyer with a fine point. Gets it in towards Seamus Callan. Performed well in the league. He's had a reasonably quiet opening half. He's intending to change that with a great point. All-Ireland minor medalist in 2006. Good forward. Getting his place purely on merit and performance. Puck out, goes straight towards Ben O'Connor. Seamus Callan is the 11. Tries to get away from Ben O'Connor, and eventually it's the Newtown Shamrock man that has the ball. Timmy McCarthy survives the initial challenge. Referee Barry Kelly close to the action. McCarthy trying to make an angle, flicks it forward, nice skill. Beautiful play. In wide for Páirc, and Brendan Cummins, great save. Shane Marr trying to come out with it. Referee says he was fouled, and that's going to be a free for Tipperary. But Brendan Cummins had to be so alert between the posts. It was Timmy McCarthy that created the opportunity, coming in, hand passed inside the Páirc, and here comes the rasper. Good save by Cummins.
Yeah, and the feature of that was he got the ball away. You know, he didn't just stop it and leave it there for Thaddeus Sullivan to tap in. He tapped it out, he got it out over his head. But obviously Timmy McCarthy and Cathal Naughton are instructed to take on Ryan McCarthy, maybe a little bit suspect pace at times, and Timmy McCarthy stretching there, Cathal Naughton the time before.
Eamon Buckley seems to require some medical attention there. Made his debut last season in the drawn match, first drawn match against Limerick. Brendan Cummins is free. Well gathered by Páirc. He's played well since that introduction. Takes too many steps on this occasion. Tipperary supporters and fans here in Páirc don't agree with the referee. It's a free to Cork.
Yeah, great catch, but this is one of my big bugbears. The player does this out the field. You know, he did take too many steps, and good refereeing, but you do that inside the 21-yard line, you never get pulled for it, you know, so... And it was still the right decision by Barry Kelly.
Low ball in for his own Kelly. Knocked away. Rebound swept up by Ronan Curran. Over for his Eamon Corcoran and Timmy McCarthy. It's Cork that go into the attack. Flinging it over this side for his Ben O'Connor. Gets inside his opposite number 10, Seamus Buckler. Chance perhaps here for Timmy McCarthy, but it goes off the volley, well wide.
I think, Marty, all the players out the field should be made go in and play in the full forward line in training in the match. They're slowing up the game too much. They're taking an extra touch, they're running with the ball, and they're taking up the space for the full forward line. Instead of getting the ball in quick, they're all running with the ball, taking this extra touch, and it's very frustrating for the inside forward.
Ronan Curran. Great catch by Shane McGrath. And that ball is wide. 10 wides for Tipperary now. Cork just half of that. Tom Kenny. Sean O'Gall-Halpine. Looks at the target, drops it in towards Páirc. That's a little touch. Brendan Cummins. To his cornerback, Conor O'Brien. Seamus Calman. Owen Kelly, but it's Brian Murphy. I think that was intended for Cathal Naughton, picked up instead by Kevin Canty. In for his Páirc. Conor O'Mahony has gone back to help out his full back line. Seamus Buckler. It is knocked down for his Naughton. To O'Halpine. Cork controlling matters so far. Diagonal ball is aimed over this side. Right half back John Gardner. Fed by Timmy McCarthy. Same result. 6 wides for Cork in this game, and they still only lead by 1. Sean O'Gall-Halpine dropping this in. There's a little touch to it, but Brendan Cummins was alert. And Brendan Cummins under pressure. All the Cork fans behind him at the Blackrock end.
Your man with the big hat, he always gets in around. It's like John 3-7, he's always in around with the cameras.
Cathal Naughton. Away he goes, straight through the heart of the Tipperary defence. Ball inside for his Páirc, and this is a great movement. Is he brought down? Is it a penalty? Referee says not quite. Has he blown his whistle? Brendan Cummins, it is a penalty. I'd be surprised if he didn't give it. Tipperary were exposed and it came right through the middle.
Yeah, Naughton's pace again, a great hand pass. But Barry Kelly just seems to be checking a little bit with maybe his umpire. I don't know, and I was interested, but it was definitely a penalty in my book. Naughton's pace and Timmy McCarthy, both of them are travelling with the ball.
Barry Kelly showing Paul Curran a yellow card for that challenge which results in that signal. And stepping up at the moment over the sliotar is Toddy O'Sullivan, and so too is Timmy McCarthy.
Looks like Toddy, young, very young player. I'd really bring up Dermot or someone like that. A young player is enough pressure, but obviously he has a bullet.
This is the man that has to stop this shot. Brendan Cummins facing Toddy O'Sullivan. Cummins in his 49 championship appearance. Toddy O'Sullivan in his first, stopped by the goalkeeper, comes back outside first. Kevin Canty, Tipperary are swarming around. Goes off the hurley of Shane McGrath. Over there is Conor O'Brien, battling with Timmy McCarthy. Cornerback has shown well in his very first appearance in the championship encounter. Clear down the field, and Tipperary fans stand on their feet in response to what they've just seen on the field of play. Is it a turning point? I wonder. Dermot O'Sullivan flings it down the middle. Just goes by Shane McGrath. Comes instead Páirc Páirc Cronin, and that ball is once again left and wide. Number 7 for the Leesiders.
Cork have taken up in the shooting where Tip were in the first half. Some terrible rides from both sides, but it's certainly, I think, Marty, that is a big turning point. Brendan Cummins, after making 2 brilliant saves, there's Paul Curran did pull him back, but Cork could have 2 more goals. The game would be again to be out of sight, and there's the save now from the penalty. But Tip have been living super save, and those the yellow helmets. There's Corcoran and
Corcoran. Change in the Tipperary lineup. It's Benny Dunn that's on, and the player that's gone off is James Woodlock. That's the midfielder, number 8. Sean O'Halpine. Pull across Shane McGrath. Going to be a free for Tipperary. This is the incident again. As he was going for the ball, but he just seemed to connect with the Tipperary man. Referee decided it's a free. Owen Kelly, goal and a point to his credit in the first half. 65 metres out. Tipperary fans rejoice. Umpire waves the white flag. Level in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, only for the second time at 1-9 to 1-9.
Yeah, and only the third score for free, Marty. Very few frees. It was a 9 in the first half in total. So Barry Kelly certainly can't be accused of interfering with the flow of play, even though that, in my opinion, that was a very soft free.
Micheál Webster from Lockmore Castleiney Club, county champions, coming on for Seamus Butler, who had a great game in the National Hurling League final, scoring 6 points. But today, just not quite finding his rhythm. Cork are going to introduce 2 substitutes. They would appear at the same time. Niall McCarthy is coming on, and he's coming on for centre-half forward Kevin Canty. And number 28, Kieran Murphy from Sarsfields, is coming on for Timmy McCarthy.
I'm surprised at Timmy McCarthy.
Surprise, yes, I was just going to say that.
Timmy gets a lot of stick, but I thought he was having a fine game today, one of his better games, and Eamon Corcoran certainly won't be sorry to see the back of him.
Double substitution by Gerald McCarthy. Obviously not happy with the shooting of his forwards, but question the decision to take off Timmy McCarthy. Ball up towards Micheál Webster to test out the Rock O'Sullivan. Sean O'Halpine steps by Pat Kerwick, drives it in. Kieran Murphy covering, breaking ball. Toddy O'Sullivan knocks it back cleverly to Ben O'Connor. Good score.
He's a really beautiful hurler, Martin O'Sullivan. His little touches and flicks, a very intelligent player for such a young player.
And that was good vision by Toddy O'Sullivan, spotting that Ben O'Connor was available outside. Paul Curran seems to have picked up an injury. Thus the delay, momentarily at least. Seems to have a leg problem in his 20th championship appearance this afternoon. captained Waterford IT to the Fitzgibbon Cup back in 2003. 1 point between the teams, with almost 48 minutes played now.
Tipper going to be the happier at this stage. Cork have dominated the second half, and yet Tipper only a point behind. Even though they did hit those wides in the first half, Cork have completely dominated since half time, and you know, you need Tips half forward and really need to come into the game.
Jerry O'Connor, John Gardner available to his right, decides to run again at the Tipperary defence. Going through the middle is this midfield partner, Tom Kenny. Angle for a shot and a point. First in the game for Tom Kenny, and that partnership that has worked so well for 4 seasons with Jerry O'Connor and himself at midfield reflected in this fine point. Eamon Buckley into the centre. Conor O'Mahony again tries to set up either Pat Kerwick or Owen Kelly, but Sean O'Halpine dominating at left half back. 2 against 2 here. Buddy O'Sullivan and Kieran Murphy are the 2 Cork forwards. Referee, I think, is going to give it to a ball here. Kieran Murphy, fine hurler, coming up through the minor ranks. Many people felt that he would be in the starting 15, but Gerald McCarthy went for that youthful cocktail of Paddy O'Sullivan, Tara Cronin and Carl Naughton in the full forward line instead. It's Kieran Murphy that's getting the medical attention as the fans wait patiently. Gerald McCarthy, captain Cork to the 1966 All-Ireland title, former manager, of course, of Waterford. Now very much the boss here in terms of the Cork senior hurling team. Kieran Murphy is fine. Ball is thrown in. Shane McGrath. A bit of jersey pulling by Ben O'Connor. Free to the Premier County.
Very hard to see anything there.
Absolutely, as the ball comes down towards Donald Cusick. Falling outside is Jerry O'Connor. Good ball as well. Giving him plenty of time. Lofts a high one up towards Kieran Murphy again and Paddy O'Sullivan. Paul Kern under a bit of pressure. Murphy comes into challenge. Still Paul Kern. Gets his clearance in despite that intensity. Benny Dunn. Outside. There's Tom Kenny. And again it's swinging to the right and wide. The shooting is poor, Michael.
Yeah, it is. As I said in the first half, it takes from the excitement. You know, there should be another 8 or 9 points on both scoreboards. But the old guard, Sean O, Grona Kern, John Gardner, completely dominated. Jerry O'Connor. There's Pat Cronin again now.
Puck out from Brendan Cummins was poor, but he's not punished by Páirc Cronin, who's now operating at right, in fact left half forward. So I think Brendan will go for distance rather than a short ball the next time. Decision made. Drops it down into the Cork half of the field. Here comes Lark Corbett. Taken down by Brian Murphy. Rather annoyed that he was in fact going through, and expresses that opinion to Barry Kelly, but the Mullingar official had blown his whistle, and Cork at that precise moment looked as if they too, like the Tipperary defence earlier, were going to be exposed. Chance here perhaps for Owen Kelly.
Brian Murphy's definitely going in the book. Very cynical play, but good cornerback play in one way. He had no choice. Larry Corbett was onto that breaking ball like a flash, and
Yellow card for the left corner back from Clyde Rovers, the Rathcormac area of County Cork. Owen Kelly in his 36th championship appearance today for his county. has scored a goal and 2 points so far. That goal in the first half, really memorable. This to reduce Cork's lead to just 1. Simple tap over. 53 minutes played, and this is going right all the way to the 70th minute. Changes again in the Tipperary full forward line, it would appear, as John O'Brien is coming on, and Willie Ryan, top of the left, is the player that's going off. So John O'Brien from Tumivara takes his place, it would appear, at left half forward. Cork are introducing Brian Corrie, who had a very good league campaign, and the player that's coming off, it would appear, is Páirc Cronin. Breaking ball, easily picked up. Down the middle, Seamus Calnan. Ronan Curran with it. Calnan willing to take on the Cork defence. It's 1 against 1. It's Webster against Donald O'Cusick, it would appear, as David O'Sullivan is minding the goals. Cusick did well. Gets the ball out for his Tom Kenny. Owen Kelly just didn't have the speed to reach that slipper first. Into the centre. Ronan Curran delivers the ball up towards Kieran Murphy. Paul Curran attacks the ball first. Centre half back Conor Manning just gets it a little distance. And once again it's a high dropping missile. Falls off the boot of Webster. Comes to Owen Kelly. And they're level in Páirc for the 3rd time.
Yeah, I think that's the contrast. The long ball in is suit and tip. Webster's a bit of size. Owen Kelly, Larry Cobb, they can win ball in the air. Whereas Cork are playing high ball after high ball into the full forward and losing it. I'd be playing the ball low in front of Paddy O'Sullivan. He's getting no ball in front of him. The high ball is not working. And your Tipper are going to be thrilled at this. They have been completely out of the second half and now they're back level.
Eamon Corcoran, Shane Marr, all involved. It's Kieran Murphy that gets it out, but picked up instead by John O'Brien. Brian Murphy. Sean O'Halpine takes the shoulder from Micheál Webster and pops up off the ground. Tom Kenny. Low trajectory in towards Kieran Murphy. Overlap provided if needed by Brian Corrie. Dropping ball, well gathered by Brendan Cummins. Good goalkeeping. Clearance is not a great one. He was under severe pressure. Sent in and sent wide. That is Cork's 10th wide of the game. 10 wides for Tipperary. And on the scoreboard, it's 111 each. But Cummins did very well here. Shane O'Neill. Well read by Paul Curran. Almost left it behind him. Has to go back to his goalkeeper, Brendan Cummins. Gives it plenty of air. Drops it down into the middle of the field. Picked up by Tom Kenny. Survives the shoulder from Conor O'Brien. Sends it back in again towards Kieran Murphy. 1 against 1 here. Murphy has it on the right side. Ben O'Connor is in there. Tipperary needs reinforcements and quickly. The referee saw a foul, was admonishing, not once but indeed twice, and you can see that it would appear as if he's giving a free. And the free is to Cork on the 20-metre line.
I think the amount of ball Cork, Jodine was there for the last 11 or 12 years. I would say he would have got as much ball as he got in there today, and he's still on the sideline, which I find strange. We don't know whether he's carrying an injury or whatever, but there's 3 of the forwards have been taken off, and he's still 6 and 3, 9 forwards, and he's not in the top 9 forwards in Cork. I'd be very surprised.
Sliotar has been returned, and this is a free. I think it's going to be taken by Ben O'Connor. Meanwhile, it looks like Kieran Murphy requires some attention, and Barry Kelly is telling the Cork management on the sideline that he has to get some immediate medical attention. This is going to be taken by Ben O'Connor on the 20-metre line. Happy, I'm sure, perhaps to go for the point. Cian Murphy is the reason why there is a slight delay. Gary Kelly, the referee, has gone out around the middle of the field. Ben O'Connor takes the free eventually and puts it over the bar. He scored a goal and 3 points this afternoon. Puck out by Brendan Cummins. Straight down the middle. Flicked away by Cathal Naughton. Sent in towards the corner. Roddy O'Sullivan chasing after this. It would appear as if Eamon Buckley's hurley was being held in the chase with the slipper. And that's going to be a sideline ball for Tipperary.
Yeah, that's a perfect example, Marty, of what I'm talking about. Brian Curry, I didn't even have to look. He just needed to play a simple ball in front of Paddy O'Sullivan. Next thing, he hits a high ball over his head, gives him no chance of winning possession.
Shane Marr, the Burgess Club in North Tip. Conor O'Brien dropping in a ball towards Micheál Webster, puts up that big left hand, tries to get away from Dylan O'Sullivan, goes on to his right, it's looking good, it's over the bar. Just like Pat Kerwick in the first half, Micheál Webster's introduction has been justified. They're level in Páirc for the 4th time. Fine catch by Brian Cork. Big tall lad who did a very good campaign, but that's equally a fine block down by Conor O'Mahony. Sent down the field by Benny John. In towards Micheál Webster. Brought down. Referee has blown his whistle. And David O'Sullivan is claiming that he was the one that was pulled out. The Rock cannot believe the decision, but certainly from this perspective it looked as if Micheál Webster was brought down by David O'Sullivan.
The innocence of that. Huh?
Owen Kelly went in after the ball to Donald Cusick, and that's the reason why there is further delay. I think Tipperary wanted to take the free quickly. And again, Barry Kelly, as tension mounts with just about 10 minutes to go, will have to assert his authority. Tell everybody to cool down.
Yeah, but certainly Webster with his height, you know, he's target man there for taking the second half. Cork have nobody in around the goals that they put up their hand. Curran has had a handy day, but Dermot O'Sullivan, he had Lara Corbett for the first 40 minutes with his speed, and now Webster with his size. And he's had his hands full all day. That definitely was a free in my book.
Owen Kelly, just slightly to the right of the post. Takes the point. Tipperary go in front. Scored a goal and 5 points, Owen Kelly. And the National League champions put their noses in front. Eamon Corcoran down the middle. Breaking ball, Seamus Callan judged it perfectly, waited for that break. And they are on another score. The Premier County fans celebrate. Coming at a crucial time, Seamus Callan made a bit of space for himself and took his point with style and purpose.
Yeah, and he's done really well. Ronan Curran hasn't been in the game much at all. Callan looks like the real deal at centre forward. First time in a while the Tip have had someone like him there.
Picked up by Shane Marr. A place in the Munster hurling final at stake against the winners of Clare and Limerick. Whoever loses heads to the qualifiers. Sideline ball off the boot of Brian Murphy, and the initiative just at this moment in time swings to the visitors. Sideline ball for Tipperary far side. 8 minutes or thereabouts left in actual playing time.
Eamon Corcoran has come a long way to take this. He is capable of putting it over, but it's a tight angle.
The referee just having a word with one of his umpires, Michael Coyle and Seamus O'Brien down at that end. Just keeping control of matters. This is going to be taken by Eamon Corcoran. Telling Sean O'Halpine to go back the required distance. Good effort. Great points. Eamon Corcoran gets his first point in the championship of 2008. Back there is Jerry O'Connor. Down the middle towards Cathal Nocton. Club and county mate from Newtown Shandrock. Sean O'Halpine gets by the challenge of Pat Kerwin. Dropping this in towards Kieran Murphy. Brendan Cummins comes off his goal line. Uses the short grip. Spots Eamon Corcoran. Boosted by that wonderful point from the sideline just a few moments ago. In the centre, Shane McGrath getting by the challenge of Cathal Nocton. Cork, who dominated in the opening 20 minutes, now find themselves with 7 minutes left. 3 points behind. Is this going to be 4? It's over the bar. The National League champions are showing their class. Huge victory is now just about 6.5 minutes away. For the first time since 1922, Tipperary just might beat Cork in their own backyard. 4 points between the teams for the very first time. Barry Kelly acquiring some attention himself from the fourth official as his earpiece had fallen out. Looks like he's booking a prayer as well. It's Benny Dunn that gets the yellow card. Ben O'Connor standing over this.
It is a big free, Marty. Very difficult free. They're 4 points down. If he gets this, a goal, still getting back into the game.
Goes for the point. Needs to curl. Not doing it. Brendan Cummins in no rush with the puck out. 5 minutes away. But perhaps he will have this man coming towards him very shortly. That's Joe Dean, wearing number 26. As it looks like Cork are going to make another double substitution. Diarmaid O'Sullivan into the centre. Ben O'Connor under pressure again. Gives the slipper away. This is Shane McGrath. Diarmaid O'Sullivan. Lar Corbett. Dropping this straight over Donald Cusic's crossbar. 4 points all from play for Lar Corbett. And Tipperary for the very first time lead by 5. Cork make the substitution down at the other end as we look at Lar Corbett. He just got about the space to hit the slipper, but he hit it perfectly.
Yeah, Marty, it's been the decisive things. The class of Owen Kelly and Lar Corbett, 1-6 from play between them, and that's been the difference. Cork haven't had forwards like them that can take those scores and make it look so easy.
Joe Dean is on for Páirc O'Sullivan. This moment in time, Tipperary are the team in control. Diarmaid O'Sullivan back to his goalkeeper, Donald Cusick. Knocked down into the path of Ben O'Connor. Niall McCarthy easily dispossessed by Conor O'Mahony. Sent down the sideline, over the sideline. John O'Brien given a shoulder by John Gardner. Team officials suffered a little bit as well. Cork captain going to take this. 3 minutes left in the clock.
Marty, Cork gambled with a new look forward line. Kevin Canty is gone, Páirc O'Sullivan is gone, Pat Cronin is gone, Timmy McCarthy is gone. And people say it didn't work, but had they much choice, they couldn't start with all the same old team again.
Sideline ball goes straight to Shane Marr. Eamon Corcoran is looking for it. Joe Dean nips in. Feeds into the centre as the O'Connor twins. They need to create the opportunity. They've created it. There's a chance here for Brian Corey, and that is over the bar. And Ballymartle, in his first championship season for his county, created by the O'Connor twins, finished by Brian Corey. 4 points between the teams. Cork make another substitution, by the way. That's Patrick Horgan is coming on, and the player that's gone off is Niall McCarthy, would appear. That's after Niall McCarthy, I think, lost that possession and that simple ball to Conor O'Mahony. There's no time for messing around now from the Cork management.
No, he didn't look sharp at all when he came on there. Missed a few balls that came his way.
Tipperary, if victory is going to be theirs, will really savour this. Lara Corbett. Seamus Callan to his right. Michal Webster is waiting on the edge of the square, but Cork have it away momentarily. There's a free. Referee Barry Kelly has blown his whistle. And another chance for Tipperary to stretch their lead.
Yeah, Martin, we talked a bit about maybe the Cork bench, but what about the Tipperary bench? Benny Dunn, Michael Webster, John O'Brien, last year's Ulster full back Declan Fanning not used, and this form and the form of them in the latter stages of the league, if they take their 7 or 8 easy chances in the first half, they could be way ahead of this game now, and on this form they're going to be very, very serious contenders for the All-Ireland this year.
Jimmy O'Sullivan has been shown a yellow card. Owen Kelly, I'm sure at this stage will be just happy to tap this over the bar. Exactly what he does. Goal in 6 points for the corner forward from Mullinagh. And it stretches Tipperary's lead now to 5, and they look quite secure with a fine second half performance. Brian Curry gets a touch. Conor O'Brien. Cathal Naughton coming through. Nice pickup. Ben O'Connor is available. It's an inside pass, Joe Dean. Ben O'Connor has gone inside. Back out pass, Cathal Naughton. 2 Tipperary defenders around the Newtown Shandrum man. Dropping this in. Hoping for a touch. They need a goal, Cork. Fine catch again. Over this side, it's Shane McGrath. Sideline ball. That would appear to me to be a Cork ball, but Ben O'Connor says no. Or rather, Barry Kelly says no to Ben O'Connor. 3 minutes of additional time to be added on. Referee off camera just cooling a couple of verbal exchanges between a few of the players.
Liam Sheehy is a very quiet fella off the field, but he certainly wears his heart on his sleeve on the sideline. You think he was playing there? He's in the middle of everything.
Shane Marr to Shane McGrath. Big ball up first, Michal Webster. Jimmy O'Sullivan gets a touch. Ronan Kern goes back to gather. Sends it down the sideline. Kept in play. Good work by Tom Kenny. Straight through again, the part of his Tipperary defence. Helping out is Pat Kerwick. But it goes for as Joe Dean. Sean O'Graham. Cork need a goal here. Halfway to goal is blocked by Conor O'Mahony, who's lost his helmet in that exchange with Sean O. Chance here perhaps for Cork. Ben O'Connor is there. But once more, it's Eamon Corcoran. John Gardner keeps the pressure on. Floating this one in, but it's wide again for Cork. Total of 12 wides. It's poor shooting by any county standards, but particularly by Cork.
Yeah, but the game probably swung, Marty halfway through the second half. Cork had 2 great goal chances from the penalty and in open play. They didn't take them. They were way on top of that stage. Tip weren't in the game for the first 15 minutes of the second half, but that's what happens at hurling. If you don't take your chances, you'll be punished, and Tip finished the game much stronger.
Ronan Curran underneath this as Cork need possession. Comes out for Seamus Callan. Harley looks at the goalposts, and Tipperary are looking very, very impressive with just about a minute left. Seamus Callan gets his 3rd point of the game. Referee has blown his whistle as Patrick Horgan from Glen Rovers was running through, and this is a huge psychological boost to Tipperary. They look at this stage home and dry as we're well into injury time. And most impressive second half performance. Yellow card would appear for Conor O'Mahony.
This guy, Seamus Callan, just making way there now. He seems to be getting a bit of cramp. But what a game he's had at centre forward. Looks a real good hurler. Scored 3 great points in play and led the line with great authority for such a young player.
Dara Egan is the player that comes on for him. Free quickly taken by Ben O'Connor to Cathal Nocton. Doesn't really work out, but he gets another free. Takes it quickly. Over for Joe Dean. Has to go for goal. Stopped brilliantly. Eamon Buckler relieves the pressure. Páirc O'Halpine in the centre. It's Cork that have the sliotar, but it's Tipperary that win the match. The National League champions have come to Cork, led by their new manager. Tipperary remain unbeaten. They've won the Waterford Crystal Tournament. They've won the National League. And for the first time in 86 years, Tipperary have come to Cork, to Páirc and beaten the Leesiders and beaten them impressively as well. Tipperary go through to the Munster final where they take on Clare or Limerick. Cork head for the qualifiers. Donald Cusick will be bitterly disappointed, but he could do absolutely nothing to stop a brilliant goal from Owen Kelly hitting the back of the net. Brendan Cummins, his opposite number one, saved a rasper, but it was Tipperary's day. That depth of talent that they now have coming through from the minor and under 21 racks, finally coming to fruition. It's Tipperary that go through with an impressive victory here on the banks of the Lee with a quite impressive second half performance. Full-time score, Tipperary 119, Cork 113.
Disappointment for Cork.
Yeah, very disappointing day. As you said, intense in the first half, especially there. We got a good run on Tipperary, good start, and we're just very disappointed, I suppose, in the end.
Cork players are supposed to go into this game. Might have felt they had a point to prove after what happened in the winter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we thought we had a point to prove, and we used that as a motivational factor during the week. And we thought we were well prepared for the game, but we just can't legislate for the amount of missed chances that we had there in the second half. Could have turned the game in our favour, but Tip got a run on us, and the more momentum going into the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, because you were the ones who really had that good start and had quite a lead in the first half.
Yeah, we got a good start, and I suppose the goal, Owen Kelly's goal, was probably the turning point for them. We went 7 points up, and the goal brought them back into it, and they drove a couple of points after that. So, as I said, very disappointing, but we had a good start.
Yeah, obviously that huge disappointment. How will you sort of pick yourselves up now and go on towards the qualifiers?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to regroup during the week. We're just going to have to get back into training. We're back with clubs now for the next couple of weeks, so we just have to regroup with that, and that's the only way we can go now is through the back door, so we just have to do it.
So we haven't heard the last from Cork in this championship?
Hopefully not any.
Thanks.
Thanks a million.